The Serengeti Plains, after the first rains of the season, appear like a mythical painting. An entire ocean of fresh green grass stretches infinitely to the horizon, undulating with every breath of wind like emerald waves. Herds of zebras and wildebeest leisurely graze, enjoying the generosity of nature in a scene of strange tranquility. However, amidst that perfection of creation, a strange object appears, breaking the purity of green. The patrol team of Officer Musa was moving slowly in their jeep when they spotted a small black shadow lying motionless under the increasingly harsh sun. That was Kito, a lonely lion cub. In total contrast to the vibrant life of the surrounding grasslands, Kito appeared like a painful scar. His body was thin and tattered to a pitiful degree, every rib bone clearly visible behind a layer of dust-matted fur. The strangest thing did not lie in his appearance, but in what he was protecting. Amidst the lush green grass, Kito lay prostrate, his two front paws tightly clutching a crumpled, tattered black plastic bag. That artificial black color stood out in an ugly and alienated way amidst nature. As the jeep approached, instead of fleeing into the dense bushes to preserve his life as the instinct of a wild animal would dictate, Kito struggled to stand on trembling legs. The rustling sound of the plastic bag rose out of tune with the chirping of birds. His gaze was not the ferocity of a predator, but the desperate determination of a guardian watching over a final treasure. He would rather starve to death amidst this lush savanna than ever let go of that scrap of worn plastic. Musa had spent his entire life on the dusty roads of the Serengeti, but he had never seen anything so moving and incomprehensible. In order to check the health and save the life of the cub, his team was forced to use a mild sedative. When the needle touched the skin, Kito did not roar in pain. He only whimpered softly, his eyes still glued to the black plastic bag until his heavy eyelids closed. Even in a deep sleep, his claws remained clenched, digging deep into the thin plastic layer, as if it were the only thread connecting him to life. It took a great deal of effort for Musa to remove that treasure from the arms of the small lion. When the black plastic bag was placed on the hood of the Jeep, the entire patrol team held their breath. The layer of black plastic was wrinkled and faded by the savanna sun and wind, looking like nothing more than a worthless piece of trash. But as Musa carefully opened the now brittle plastic, the secret inside made his heart tighten. There was no food, no glittering treasure, only plastic identity cards and a smartphone with a screen shattered like a spider web. Musa tremblingly picked up one card, wiping away the fine dust. The face on the card appeared clearly under the sunlight. Captain Samuel. Musa knelt down on the green grass. Samuel was not just a colleague, but also his closest friend. 3 months ago, Samuel and the entire Ranger Unit No. 7 vanished without a trace after a night when the guard station was violently attacked. In the official reports at that time, people suspected that the unit had deserted or even been bribed by illegal mining gangs. These identity cards, symbols of the honor of a forest guard, should have remained in the ashes of the station. But now they were here, protected by an orphaned lion. Musa suddenly remembered the old days, when Kito was just a tiny ball of fur saved by Samuel from the hands of poachers. In the small station amidst the great forest, Kito had grown up amidst the laughter of the rangers. To a lion cub, the plastic ID cards dangling on the chest of Samuel or the rustling plastic bags containing supplies whenever they returned from the main town were his first toys. He had become accustomed to the smell of synthetic plastic blending with the sweat and warmth of humans. It turned out that to Kito, this black plastic bag was not trash. It was family. He believed that as long as the scent of this plastic remained, the warmth of Samuel and those soldiers had not yet vanished. For 3 long months, traveling through days of skin-scorching heat until the summer rains made the green grass grow back, Kito had made an unimaginable journey. He had protected these ID cards with all the instincts of a future king, because that was the only way he knew to keep his fathers from being forgotten amidst the vast wilderness. The truth about the missing heroes was now nestled inside that thin black plastic layer, waiting to be vindicated. When the shattered phone was brought to the technical center, a heavy atmosphere filled the room. The screen was riddled with cracks, the casing covered in the dry mud of the savannah, evidence that it had endured a brutal survival journey with Kito. After many hours of effort to restore it, the system finally restarted. A video appeared, and that was when the most cruel truth was revealed, causing everyone present to shed tears. The video began in the chaos of a stormy night. The sound of gunfire rang out continuously, drowning out the thunder. Through the shaky lens, the Ranger Unit No. 7 station was seen engulfed in smoke and fire. Amidst the streaks of bullets in the night, the face of Captain Samuel appeared, smudged with gunpowder and blood, but his eyes radiated an extraordinary resolve. He did not use his final moments to call for help for himself, but was instead hurriedly gathering the ID cards of his fallen comrades. He stuffed them all into a black plastic bag, tying it tightly to protect them from rain and road dust. In that breathless moment, Samuel looked down at Kito, who was then just a small lion cub trembling under the table. He pushed the plastic bag into the mouth of Kito and whispered in a hoarse but loving voice, "Kito, take it. Run, son. Do not let them be forgotten." That was the final order of a father and a soldier for his wild child. The video accidentally captured the faces of the attackers. They were not local poachers, but international mercenaries protecting an illegal ore mine located deep in the core of the reserve. It was these images that exposed the true face of a giant mineral corporation, the ones who had their hands in the blood of the Rangers for profit. The truth was now clear. Kito did not happen to pick up a bag of trash. He had received a sacred testament. For 3 long months, that lion cub had crossed hundreds of kilometers of the vast savannah, facing fierce hyenas and gnawing hunger. He had gone through the harshest dry season until the first rains made the savannah green again, just to fulfill his promise to Samuel. That cheap, fragile black plastic bag was the steel evidence, the voice of the deceased sent through a creature that could not speak. Everyone in the technical room fell silent as the video ended with the scene of Kito holding the bag, turning his head to run into the darkness of the savannah, while the ranger station exploded behind him. His persistence was not just instinct, but a love that transcended all species. Kito had kept the plastic from tearing, keeping the souls of the forest guards from being buried in injustice. That small lion, amidst the vast sea of green grass, was the holder of the key to justice, standing alone against the oblivion of the world. The truth from the shattered phone was like an earthquake sweeping through the entire management system of the reserve. Thanks to the images and coordinates accidentally saved in the black plastic bag, the authorities launched a large-scale raid, completely dismantling the illegal mine and arresting the perpetrators. The honor of Unit No. 7 was fully restored. Samuel and his comrades were no longer considered deserters. They were posthumously awarded the highest medals of bravery. A small monument was erected right where the guard station once stood, recording the names of the soldiers who fell to protect the green of the wilderness. However, while the human world was busy with justice and ceremonies, a different battle was taking place at the rescue center. The battle to save the life of Kito. After the plastic bag was taken away for investigation, Kito fell into a state of severe depression. The small lion refused all types of food, even the freshest pieces of meat. He only lay motionless in the corner of his enclosure, his amber eyes looking far out into the savannah, occasionally emitting whimpering, broken cries as if calling for someone in vain. The veterinarians feared that Kito would not survive, not because of physical wounds, but because he had lost his only purpose for living. Musa was the only one who understood what was happening. He knew that for Kito, the duty of protecting the bag was the final thread holding him to his deceased fathers. One afternoon, after the legal procedures were completed, Musa brought back the piece of old black plastic bag, which was now cleaned of dust but still bore the scratches of Kito, and returned it to him. As soon as he saw that crumpled piece of plastic, a bolt of energy seemed to run through the weak body of the lion. Kito struggled up, approached, and sniffed the familiar smell of plastic greenery. He growled softly, then curled up resting his head on the black plastic scrap like a child who had finally found his familiar pillow. From that day on, Kito began to eat again, under the dedicated care of Musa and the rescue team. His thin body gradually filled out, and his previously matted fur began to regain its smooth and golden shine under the sun. In his sun-drenched room at the center, Kito often lay peacefully on the black plastic scrap, sometimes using his teeth to gently toy with the plastic stripped away he used to play with the ID card straps of Samuel. The recovery process of Kito was not just the revival of a wild creature, but also the soothing of living souls. Musa looked at Kito and saw the image of his dear friend Samuel. He understood that Kito was not just a lion. He was a living proof that love and loyalty are never limited by language or species. The lion had completed his mission of guarding the relics, and now he was being protected by the entire savannah to prepare for a new chapter, the chapter of true freedom. Time passed, and Kito was no longer the weak lion cub trembling under the baobab tree or exhausted amidst the sea of green grass. Thanks to the care of Musa and the rescue team, Kito had grown remarkably. The once spindly legs had become muscular and steady. The soft, downy fur had been replaced by a mane that was beginning to grow long, sparkling like golden threads under the African sun. However, everyone understood that a king cannot rule in a cage. Kito belonged to the savannah, the place where the ranger souls had fallen to protect. The day to release Kito arrived. Musa drove the familiar jeep, carrying the crate of Kito to the exact location where they had first found him, in the middle of a vast ocean of fresh green grass after the rainy season. The Serengeti sky that day was high and clear, a deep blue color of hope. When the cage door opened, Kito did not rush away. He stepped out slowly and majestically, his paws stepping lightly on the soft green grass carpet, as if feeling the pulse of the land where he had wandered for 3 months with the black plastic bag. Musa stood by the car, his eyes blurred with emotion. Before leaving, he performed a symbolic gesture. He tied a small black plastic strip to a nearby boundary marker. The plastic strip fluttered in the wind, creating a familiar rustling sound. Kito stopped, walked toward the plastic strip, and sniffed that scent one last time. He gently rubbed his head against the hand of Musa, a gesture of farewell full of understanding, then turned his face toward the horizon. Standing amidst the lush green savannah, Kito let out a thunderous roar. It was no longer the weak whimpering of an orphaned lion cub, but the majestic roar of a lord, echoing through the valleys, signaling the return of a legend. Kito began to run. He ran across the sea of grass, his golden mane sparkling in the deep red sunset. The image of the powerful lion disappearing into the endless green of the wilderness left in the hearts of the witnesses a fierce belief in the magical connection between humans and nature. Kito had completed his mission. He did not only protect the evidence to clear the names of Samuel and Unit Number 7, but also reminded the world that love and loyalty can exist in the harshest places, under the simplest forms like a tattered old black plastic bag. The story of Kito and the black plastic bag has become a legend told by rangers around campfires. Every time they see a black plastic strip fluttering in the savannah wind, they remember Samuel, Unit Number 7, and the young king who guarded the souls of heroes. Hopefully, this story will bring you faith in the remaining kindness in this world. Sometimes, it is the wild creatures that teach us the greatest lessons about being human. If the story of Kito touched your heart, please share it to honor the forest guards who silently sacrifice every day. Join us in spreading the message of connection and compassion by pressing the subscribe button so you do not miss the next magical journeys. Thank you for accompanying Kito until his final steps of freedom. See you in the next stories, where light always finds its way amidst the wild wilderness.